man, you know how it is. We gotta do them. We give people what they want. They buy stuff from you, and you gotta ship it out. You gotta make it and ship it out. That's what we gotta do. I'm in the garage. Yesterday, I was not in the garage. I was in my office area doing stuff. Sorry if I'm off screen right now. I am cutting stuff out so I can make stuff. So you're gonna see me come in and out, in and out. See what is going on today. What is going on that I thought that was super interesting, or at least I don't know, just have thoughts about it. I mean, I guess the big topic that is going around right now is the tariffs. The tariffs. I've talked about this a few times already. I told you guys, like, if you guys go back, I told you guys weeks ago, right? We're in a trade war. In the trade war, we're at war. In the trade war, the war with our wallets. How's that going for everybody? That's what I wonder. What's everyone's thoughts on the modern warfare? We're all soldiers in there, and instead of bullets, they use our wallets. Are you contributing to the trade war? Are you doing your part? That's what I wonder. I guess it's related to this, and I just thought it was very interesting. So, the whole idea with the trade war is that they want to produce more stuff, buy American and do more stuff in America, right? But the issue that I see with the trade war is that let's just take the aluminum one, for example, right? We get a lot of our aluminum from Canada, and I believe the top producers of aluminum around the world, right? This is worldwide. You guys can look it up. I'm just trying to go off memory, but if I remember correctly, number 1 was China, number 2 is Russia, number 3 is Canada, number 4 is America, and then the rest. Right. Those are the top producers of that sweet, sweet aluminum, right? Used for cars, used for cans, drinks, used for electricity, used for space components, used for electrical wires. Basically, aluminum is used in a whole lot of stuff, right? And the issue is that I see with these trade wars is that, you add the tariffs on stuff, right? And the idea is that, you're making it expensive to import the stuff, whatever it is. And so you want to look for a local supplier, right? That's the idea. I've imported stuff before, so I know, I have an idea exactly how it works. I don't know if you guys have ever imported anything, but as people are saying, the tariffs, I pay the tariffs, okay? China's not paying no tariffs. Nobody's paying the tariffs. I pay the tariffs at the port. And I have a port story if you guys want to hear it later. But yeah. So the issue that I see with the tariffs is that, you're trying to encourage to buy American, but the issue I see is that America as a whole don't make a whole lot of stuff. And you know what I mean? Like, we've exported all that out. So just let's take the aluminum, for example, right? Like I said earlier, it's used for cars, used for electrical wires. If your city still has those, like, power wires that are hanging around, we still have them out here in California, but some places that are more modern, they put them on the ground. And that's what causes a lot of fires, by the way. That's something that needs to get addressed. What's also very funny, another tangent, I guess, is that a lot of third world countries, I want to say third world countries, developing countries, their power grids, their power lines are not above like they are here in America. Like, for example, in China, they don't have the power lines above because they built their power grid later. So, but we just don't want to spend the money to upgrade our power lines because it is very expensive. I guess that's a problem of being a first user. It's like getting an old car, and you got to get a new car, but you don't want to spend the money to get a new car. That's basically what America's power grid looks like. It's like, and back to what I was talking about. Let's just say aluminum, right? I saw that before, like many years ago, we had 30 aluminum smelting plants. And you guys can check this out. As I said before, I'm going off the top of my head, so the numbers might not be there, but the idea is there. We had about like 30 aluminum smelting plants. Now we have about 4 American aluminum smelting plants. So the issue that I see here is that America's the number one user of aluminum because we use it for a whole lot of stuff, and not just making stuff, just like repairs. Like, we just use a lot of aluminum, right? It's used in almost everything, and there's only 4 American aluminum smelting plants. So we don't produce enough aluminum to buy American, right? Think about that for a second. And then you gotta think, okay, if I want to buy American, I gotta... Ooh, fun fact, aluminum was rarer than gold in medieval times. I could see that, because, that makes a very good point. Never thought about that. If you think about it, gold is valuable, right? But in medieval times, right, you need to make swords. You don't make swords out of gold, right? And what good is your gold if some guy comes at you with a big ass, like double-edged bastard, like razor blade sword? Because they use aluminum to make steel, right? So I can see that. Wait, do they use aluminum to make steel? No, they use iron. I'm sorry, but you know what I mean. Because they can use aluminum to make armor and all kinds of stuff. They don't use gold to do all that, so that makes sense. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. There's only about 4 or so American aluminum smelting plants, and it takes time to build these plants. You can't just like turn off and then build a plant. It takes years training. Like, you can... So even if these let's say you're some kind of manufacturer that uses aluminum. Let's say you're a cannery, right? You make, I don't know, you can beer or something, and it's not like you can all of a sudden get aluminum from an American manufacturer, because there's only 4 of them or so. So you still have to import it. So that part doesn't make any sense to me. I think the better idea would have been to, if you wanted to do this stuff, it takes years to plan it. Do it the way China did it. Just, if this was your plan, right, to bring back like these industries back into America, you should do it the way China did it. China subsidized all their aluminum like companies, right? They helped them buy stuff, they helped them develop, and then they slowly eroded the market. You don't just like all of a sudden turn off and be like, hey, hey Cletus, you're an aluminum guy now. And then I was reading that an aluminum plant, the reason why they outsource a lot of these aluminum plants is because it takes up a lot of energy to smelt aluminum. You guys don't know what smelting is. Smelting is like melting, the melting thing. And then when I think about melting metal, I think about oh my god, what is that? When I think about smelting, I think about Terminator 2. And you know, like Terminator 2, when the guy falls into the pit of melted metal, iconic core memory scene. Let's see, what were we saying here? It's way smarter to recycle than to make new stuff. Hi, Angela. Um, yes, okay, that's another thing that's very interesting about aluminum, right? It says, I believe they say that we use like 80% of the aluminum that's used in America, and it's recyclable. Like 80% of the aluminum used is recyclable, but in America we only recycle 40% or so of the aluminum that we use. The rest of it gets thrown into the trash or whatever happens with it. Guys, Angela's back. So I don't know if you remember, if you're the same Angela last time, Angela, we were talking. I forgot what we were talking about, and you're like, "I'm leaving," and I swear, the minute you left, we started talking about. Oh my god, what were we talking about? But it was so funny. We wish you came back. Oh, I remember now. I remember now, Angela. Yes, you were here. Okay, we want to know this question, and we want to know this so bad. So I remember now we were talking about toilet paper and how women typically they do the rollover method and they do multiple layers, right? And like we were saying that, at least I was saying from my experience, is that a lot of women use like almost a half a roll of toilet paper, and I was for one wipe, right? And I was saying that damn, I'm trying to get to the what was like we were talking, but I know we were talking about toilet paper, and we wish you were here so you could answer this question because you know what I'm talking about. Like, okay, this is a me thing, but all the girls that I've known, like girlfriends and stuff, and when you get really close to them, you kind of like you know, like you get really close and you know these kind of things. And I swear, my um my girlfriend at the time uses, I swear she'll use half half of a toilet paper roll for one wipe, right? And I was saying that after here. Is this better? Sorry. Sorry. Ah, is this better? Okay, I'm sorry. My microphone died on me. I'll bring the. Ah. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm gonna get off the toilet paper talk. You just reminded me about it because you were here and we're like you were the only female that was in here. But yeah, let's see. What were we talking about? Oh yeah, the trade war. How's your trade war going? And yeah, we were talking about aluminum, and I just think it's silly that and hard to train new workers all of a sudden. You know, it just doesn't seem very possible. We'll see. I feel like we should have done what China did, just slowly erode the system. What else did I see on the news? Uh, last night, but it's still in my heart right now. I don't know if you guys know. There's an app now that it's called CPB Home. Immigrants can use it to self-deport themselves. I still think it's hilarious. Okay, I'm sorry if I've talked about it again, but it's hilarious to me because like let's just say you're tired of running from ice and you're like, I'm tired of this, I'm out of here. uh and yeah, that, I don't know why it's so funny. And the craziest thing about this app, right, it's on the Google Play Store and it's on the Apple Store right now. um how do you handle your life? All right, we'll go. I'm gonna answer that. Okay. But what I think is very funny is that there are reviews, right? Because you know, like on the App Store, they have reviews for the apps. The There are reviews, so it's got like 2 star, like I think it's like 2.9 or 2.6 rating on the app stores, and there are people that gave the app 5 stars. So I'm like, what cycle is giving this rating this app 5 stars? Because it's like, oh, it was good. I'm not in America anymore. Like, it got me deported very quickly. I don't know. All right. I'll get off that as well. But I just thought that that was very funny to me. Just the idea that you can now use an app to self deport. People who want free healthcare. People that want free healthcare. But here's the thing about the healthcare thing is that, let me see, is my machine hot yet? It's hot enough. It's hot enough. I can start printing stuff. Let's see. Oh, this first order I have here. We can get on the healthcare topic. Is you know, someone asked me a while back, what do I do with returns if returns ever come back? Well, bam, this is a return, and someone finally ordered it again. So I've had this apron set that got returned back to me for about, I want to say 2 3 months, because the issue is the color has to match up and the design has to match up, right? So someone returned this to me. How many orders do I get a day? Back when I first started, I can get upwards to like 30 orders a day, but these days it's like maybe 5 6 or something like that a day. It's not that much, but and it's also seasonal based. During the as it gets warmer, I get less orders, and as it gets colder, I get more. It's, I don't know, it's seasonal. Like during the Christmas holiday rush time, I can get like 30 orders a day, and then I'll just be in here until midnight or longer. Anyway, so boom, this one's done because that's a return that I could ship back out. All right, next one. What were we talking? Oh, healthcare. Healthcare. Okay, what I find very interesting about the healthcare situation is that a lot of people that are on healthcare are the like Medicaid and stuff are Republicans, but at the same time, Republicans are voting, or not voting, the lawmakers or whatever are trying to get rid of all this the Medicaid stuff. So I always thought that that's very interesting, a very interesting thought. And in a way, this is where I keep advocating that they need to make more political parties because it doesn't line up. Like the needs and wants of the different levels Oh, this one is not ready. Oh, I can't make this one. I gotta recut. I gotta recut the design. That design got all messed up, so I gotta recut that one. Yeah, so yeah, they need to redraw these political like maps. They'll make everyone so much more happy. Because none of it makes any sense. But free healthcare. So you're saying my tax dollars to take care of someone else's health problems. Okay, well, I guess we want to get to the issue. You want to solve free healthcare, or do you just want to just talk about it? I think that's the issue that you want to talk. You want to get there. Um, I guess I think the issue that I always see with a lot of these programs is that oh, you just want to talk about it? Okay, we could just talk about it. I mean, the real fun is coming up with a crazy idea to solve it. But we could just talk about it. I feel like the healthcare thing, right? People getting free healthcare. I think what I wonder about, right, is one of the things that I think about is that does it pay for itself in a way? Because you give someone free healthcare, they could be a little bit healthier, and then they can work, right? And as they work, they put money into the economy. Now if they start deteriorating, they don't work as much, and then they kind of like you ever see the video the you guys ever see the video of the most inbred family, and they are like that's a scary thing to see. That's like the most inbred family. So I think there are like five generations of inbredness, and they are like some hills have eyes type. Like oh my gosh, that's some freaky scary stuff, right? And uh, none of them. I don't think any of them work unless they all. You know what they should do? They should start a TikTok. People will watch them. Uh, just to see what it's like to be like hills have eyes all the time. And so you see, they don't have healthcare and everything, and they probably use the most healthcare, right? Because they're like super inbred. But see, at what point did they not get help down the road, and now they don't work and they're not contributing to society at all? So I think that's why you need a little bit of free healthcare, because so you can keep people like isn't it, if you're like a government official guy, right? What is your goal? You're trying to keep America running, right? And to keep America running, you need workers. You need people to be working and moving money around in the economy. So I guess is the cost and to benefit that big of a difference. And I mean, realistically, they could solve healthcare pretty quickly if they really wanted to. You know what? They would not go to the doctor because they don't trust them. Well, I've talked about this before too. I barely trust doctors, and I'm a regular person. Like the thing I don't like about doctors is that sometimes it feels like they don't know what they're talking about at all, and they're just making stuff up. And the whole COVID thing did not help that at all. And that's why everyone doesn't trust healthcare right now, right? Because of that whole COVID situation and how they handled it. Because you know what's very funny about doctors is that so you're in the waiting room, right? All right, crazy part is the story is that the whole town supports him. It's a crazy thing. All right, and the brand back the Royals and how they kept the Royal Lions crazy, right? Yeah, it's insane. Inbreeding is crazy. That is crazy. But okay, the doctor thing. What's I think is very funny is that when you go to the doctor, right, you have your appointment time. They do everything by appointments now to make it more efficient, right? If I get there at 11, you're supposed to see me at 11, and then the nurses or assistants they do all your vitals, whatever. But
and then you wait for a while, right, to see the doctor. And the doctor's usually making his rounds, room to room to room to room, because they gotta pay off their student loans or whatever. But between that, they're actually on the computer looking up stuff. So, like, I always find it very funny that when they tell you, like, oh, you have this or that, sometimes they don't really know. Because I've seen it before where they've seen me or seen someone I know, and then they leave, they go get a medical book, right? And then they're like, what is this? Oh, yeah. And then they come back to you, and then they're like, I think you have this. Or how many times have you heard it where they get it wrong? And that's why you need like a second opinion, right? Like, oh, you have cancer. I'm like, really? I have cancer? I'm like, yeah, you have cancer. And then they kind of push you onto to get, like cancer treatment when you didn't have cancer. Like, how many times have you heard those stories? That's the crazy part. All right. Okay. What the okay, is the doctor to do with the patient that barks? All right. You, this is what we do. Okay. You, if you have a patient that barks, if I was that doctor, right, I would hire. Right. This is where we're going with this vet. Crush. You're getting there. I would hire a dog whisperer. You get what's his name? Caesar Milan, right? You're like, this guy thinks he's a dog, so you get the dog whisperer to come, and he's gonna give him, he's gonna treat him just right. Caesar Milan. Oh my god, I got the next season of Dog Whisperer. Caesar Milan, if you're still out there, go and train humans. That will make a show, and it's gonna get picked up for like 10 seasons. Dog. He used to be the dog whisperer. Now he's the oh, no, there's got to be a better name than human. He's the. We'll get there. Don't worry. I'll come up with it. He's the something whisperer. Human whisperer doesn't flow. Dog whisperer flows off your tongue. You gotta think like an executive. How would you say it? He's the bark. The ape. No, 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 no. He's the. It's gotta be like, but you're close. Cursed capture the cursed stripper. You're close. It's gotta be a one syllable. Because best things are two syllables, right? Dog. Dog's one syllable. Whispers two. So it needs to be a one syllable thing. That's why humans didn't work. Like we're brainstorming right now. We'll come up with a name. But anyways, you get Caesar Milan, and he's gonna come and he's gonna solve this guy's problem. He's like, Caesar, I have a patient and he's not taking his medicine. Don't worry. And he gets the clicker out. Do you ever? I don't know if you guys have pets or whatnot. And have you guys ever tried that clicking thing? I've tried it and it does not work. Does not work. Caesar, you lied. I don't know if you guys know that Caesar Milan. He's not around anymore because it came out that he's just abusive. The monkey whisperer. No, it's gotta be, it's gotta be one syllable, a one syllable word. I think you were closer with the like app. It's because the whisper is already two syllables and it makes it long. The best things is one syllable, two syllable, boom, 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 boom. Like think about it, like insane in the membrane whisper. I mean, that's a show right there. That's a show. Imagine like, sorry, you're gonna come with me. Since my microphone broke, you guys gotta come with me. Unless I just misplaced. I misplaced it? Did I misplace it? I'm looking for a print. Oh no, I just misplaced it. Sorry. Ooh, the hue. Oh, okay. The hue whisper. Like, it's gotta be one syllable. I don't know. We'll work on it. What else? What else is going on? So, We can jump. We can continue the healthcare talk, or we can jump off it. Up to you guys. If you guys want to bring up another topic that we can talk about, but that's insane. Oh, you know what I saw on the news the other day? Um, there's this mom. Oh, not mom, but there's this kid that they found, and this. I guess this is the talk where not everyone should be parents. Well, basically, he this kid has been locked up for 20 plus years. And they just found him. Ooh, the Appalachian Whisper. I kind of like that. That's kind of like, oh, I kind of like that. Um, this kid's been locked up for 20 plus years and they just found him because he started a fire in the house, right? And the fire department came and they were like, oh, this fire was started on purpose. And he's like, I did, like, and then he, he the human. That's kind of good too. That reminds me of Zoolander. And he started a fire to get the police to come, not the fire department to come to get him out. And he's been locked up with no food. He gets 2 cups of water every day, and he's been drinking. 2 cups of water is not enough, so he's been drinking toilet bowl water. And I believe they said he's 6 feet, but he's like 80 pounds. He's like a walking skeleton guy. And that's crazy. That's where you feel like, not everyone should have children. That's those are some heartbreaking stories because it's like I believe he used to go to school, right? And he would, I mean, I did this when I was in school. He would get food from all the other kids and stuff, and but the teacher started complaining that he didn't look good or whatever. And then so the mom, this is his stepmom. So when they say evil stepmom, I guess it's, I don't know. Um, the stepmom, took him out of school because the teachers were complaining that this kid was dirty and malnourished and everything. And I think the police or someone even talked to the parents multiple times. So she just pulled him out of school. And and supposedly he's now homeschooled or whatever, but they just locked him in his room for 20 years or something like that. And yeah, that's crazy. So maybe later I'll talk more. I gotta look more into it because I find those stories fascinating. Like, what compels you to do that? And then all the neighbors were like, um, they seen him because one of the neighbor they interviewed one of the neighbors, right? And he's like, "Oh, I mow my lawn and I see him in the window, and if he said something, I would have helped or something." But I'm like, I don't know. That's crazy. All right. We're gonna steer this conversation somewhere else now. Talk about healthcare. Sorry if I'm sniffling. It's cold and rainy. I know. You never know what your neighbors are doing behind doors. Um, this reminds me, right, Crush, of this time where I was little. I used to visit my cousin all the time, and my cousin lives in a different part of California. I want to say it's more like Hispanic area, right? And you can see I'm Asian, right? But it's more of a Hispanic area. And he had a neighbor that would argue all the time. And I am most likely at this time 9. I was 9, and we would, our babysitter was TV, right? And we were coming off watching RoboCop 2. Now, have you seen RoboCop 2? This is not a movie that can get made today, I don't feel like. RoboCop 2 had kids doing lines of special white powder, right? This is RoboCop 2. These kids are like, and because I don't know if you guys know, remember the story about RoboCop 2? RoboCop 2 is basically a bunch of kids. I believe they're orphans. They are kids of people that RoboCop. I think that's what the underlying thing is. It's like basically, but they're orphan kids and they're criminal masterminds and they destroy RoboCop. They came up with this plan to destroy him, but these kids were crazy and they're doing lines of special powder, right? And then they come up with this new synthetic like drug that, and then they were pushing it everywhere. But anyways, we just watched this. I'm like 9, 10 or somewhere around there. And then the next thing we did was we want to go outside to explore the world, like like kids did back then, right? And is this movie from Colombia by chance? No, it is not. It's RoboCop 2, a red-blooded American movie, okay? RoboCop 2. Not RoboCop 1, RoboCop 2, okay? And after we watch this, right, we go outside to explore the world as kids used to do. Have I ever seen Kindergarten Cop? Yes, I did. Um, and there's this wall in the back of my cousin's house, and we would climb the wall and we will just walk on top of the wall, right? And the wall's probably like 10 feet up. We'll find a way, we'll climb the wall and we start walking, right? And as we're walking, you can see into people's, in the back of his house was like an alleyway, and people just stored junk back there, right? Like all kinds of random junk would just get stored back there. So we're walking along the wall and we're just looking into the alleyway area. And then in the alleyway area, we see a guy. And keep in mind, we just finished watching RoboCop 2 and we're little kids, right? And we see him. First thought that comes to our heads was junkie. We found a real junkie. We're kids. I mean, I'm 9. My cousin's probably like 12 or so, and then my brother's 12, right? And we see, and this is the first time we ever saw a junkie. And because we just watched RoboCop 2, and it was basically about that. And we're like, oh, it's a junkie. Like, he was in the alleyway, crunched like this, right? And this is 90s time, right? And you don't have social media, you don't have the news like they do now, right? So this is the first time we've ever seen anything like that. And we're high up on the, remember, we're on top of the wall. We're 10 feet up. And we're looking down and we see this guy. There's no reason for him to be in this alleyway. So we're like, oh, hey, that's a junkie. And we're like, oh my God, what are we gonna do? So we're like, well, let's see, what do we know about them? Well, they really like that powder stuff. And like I said, I'm a little kid. We barely knew what that powder stuff was. So we're like, well, it's gonna rain later, right? He can't be in that alleyway. It's gonna rain on him. Like he's gonna get sick and stuff. You know, when you're a kid, their parents tell you you get wet, you get sick, right? So we're like, he can't be in that alleyway. We gotta get him out of there. And we're like, what? But we remember from the movie, junkies are dangerous, right? They're not like. So we're like, oh, but we should help him. We're nice kids. We're like, okay, well, what do they like? Well, they like that powder stuff. And we're like, and we're like, oh, but we don't have any of that. And then my cousin comes up with this idea. He's like, I know, we have uh powder stuff in our house. Right? And we're like, what? He's like, yeah, my parents use it to cook. We have all kinds of different, as again, we're kids. We just think all the powders look the same, right? So we're like, okay. And then so we go into our house and we're like, anything, right? And then and they keep it in these baggies that they put in the, okay, oh yeah, we have Ziploc bags, right? So we're like, okay. So we get a Ziploc bag and we just go around the house getting all kinds of different white, like flour, um, baking soda, like baking powder, like all the white powders that we can get, and we put it in a baggie, and we we kind of like tie it up like we saw in the movie, And we're like, okay, we gotta it was like this big now, right? Of all the white powders that we could possibly find in our house. And I swear it was like flour, baking soda, was what's the other thing that people use? Cornstarch, like cornstarch, like all that stuff. We just put it all together to make like this because we didn't know. We're like, well, I remember something about we watched Scarface or another movie, and because I'm telling you, we watched a lot of movies that had all that stuff. And we're like, well, we remember something about them like mixing it all together. So we're like, we mix it all up, and we're like, this looks just like it. And then so we go to the entrance of the alleyway, right? And we're like, well, we don't want to interact with them. Remember, again, we're kids. So we're like, what do we do? We're like, I know. We'll just throw it uh, near him, right? But outside the alleyway. So we'll just throw it at the entrance of the alleyway. And then we'll run to the other side and we'll just hide. And so we, we, we go, hey, we got something for you. Right? Okay, we're like, hey, we got something for you. And we throw it to the entrance of the alleyway. And then we make a big dash to the other side behind a electrical box. And now we're just like peering. We're like, and we're like, we sat there for a good 5 minutes just waiting for him to, like 5 to 10 minutes, just waiting for him to grab it, like just come out, because we want him to get out of the alleyway because it was gonna rain. I don't know why that made a difference. And so we just sat there, just like peering, right? And later we're like, oh, this is taking forever. Like, oh, I don't know, forget it. And so we give up, right? Because we waited for 10 minutes, and 10 minutes as a kid just staring at a blank wall with at a baggie on the floor just took forever. So we're like, oh, forget it, let's just go. And then we leave, and then we come back later, and the baggie was gone, and he was gone. And so one thing that I always think about to this day is whatever happened to that guy. Because just like you're saying there, Curse, imagine if he finally turns around and he sees this giant, like I'm telling you, it was like this big, right? And he must have gone, yeah, dude, he must have been so excited, right? And imagine he opens it up later, right? And he just, and and he just like, what is this? Maybe he could bake a cake or something later. I don't know. I don't even know how we got here, but I think about him all the time. I think about this guy and the cake that he could be making right now with all the baking supplies we just gave him. That part is very interesting to me. I don't even know how we got here. How did we get here? We were talking about, I think, healthcare for some reason. I don't know. We got here somewhere else. What else can we talk about? If got now, this is the internet, right? And we reach people from all over the country. If you're out there, let me know the cake that you made. Or did you get some eggs and milk? And he's just like, well, I might as well. And yes, maybe he becomes a famous, maybe he becomes a famous baker, and he actually owes me something for being the inspiration. Imagine that moment changed his whole life. Like you think about different moments in your life and how things could have turned, and him finding that bag turned his whole life around. Maybe he went right, and he was like, "Oh, this is baking powder." And he was like, "Baking, baking, that's the answer." And then he goes in the back of that alleyway and he makes an oven, and I don't know, you guys know, but you can make an oven out of anything. It's literally just a metal can and you just heat it up, right? And he makes like a aluminum can oven out of a Coke bottle, right? And he bakes a cupcake with it, and then he trades the cupcake to somebody, his dealer, right? He trades the cupcake for to his dealer. The dealer loves it so much, and he, this is how Twinkies were made. Who knows? I could have, I could have altered this guy's life. He's the original Florida man, as Angela says. I like. Do you guys ever think about that? I think about that a lot. The little interactions that you do in your life and how it affects another person. Like, that's crazy. You're that little thing that you do could change someone's life completely. And then I wonder about the royalties of like he owes me. He owes me. All right. Boop, 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 boop. Got a hoodie order. Gotta get this one done. What? What else can we talk about today? I think today was a pretty good day. Oh my gosh. You mess with people and years later. No, I think about that all the time. What I like to think about is kids or people that I meet when I was little and where they are now. And I wonder, did 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 you have like a big effect on how they turned out? What else? Like, I'm trying to think. Is there a person that I feel like I changed their life at all? Yeah, I don't know. It'll come back to me. Like, oh, that's that's something all the time. Especially right now, since I have a kid, I interact with a lot of kids, and I wonder if like any of my pep talks or just me being whatever, like what kind of impact do I have on their lives? What will you be? What will you do to be remembered? What will you do to be remembered? Let me think. You know what's weird? In high school, I tried my hardest to not draw attention to myself. I was a big believer in was it like that that gangster mentality where you just kind of like do things in silent in secret silence. That's how I remember myself in like school. Okay, okay, let's finish this order. This order's been sitting here for a very long time. I don't know you guys remember, but actually no, this is not the order. But oh, where is it? Oh, I gotta find the order form for this, but I gotta do this other order. Oh, see, I almost messed up. I almost messed up. You see, you gotta be careful. They have different sizes on these things, right? And I just looked at it, and I almost made the wrong thing, and that's how I messed up last time. I made the wrong size something, and you don't want to do that. You gotta double check. Yeah, it could be something little or just a random act you don't know from high school. Yeah, you never know what kind of impact you have on someone's life. Like, well, this is not really impact, but I remember this kid. He had an impact on my life. I met this kid in middle school, and him and I came up with this idea to make extra money. And I think I've mentioned this before. In in middle school, I got a daily allowance, right, of $2 a day, and that $2 is for my lunch, right? So you know how crazy it is that back then you can get a pizza, a whole pizza meal, and all kinds of stuff for $2. Like that's impossible now. I think I saw someone say today now a slice of pizza at school is $5. But back then I can get a pizza, a slice of pepperoni pizza, and a Coke, and have for $1.50 or something like that, and have money left over for I think a cookie. Oh, I gotta. You guys gotta come with me. I didn't cut all of this correctly, so I gotta cut some more stuff. And but what I would do is I would save that money. I wouldn't use it to buy. Ever ate the pretzel at school? Yeah, that's good too. In the morning, I like to eat that for breakfast. And but anyways, I would like to save the money, right, and not use it for lunch, because I figure, and that was my allowance, and I would save the money to buy stuff, right? But I'm like $2 a day. That's not enough. Like I would save the money to buy like video games, like a new video game or whatever, because that's all the money I get, $2 a day for school, right? So I was like, we need more. I gotta get more. I need to buy something or something. So I came up with this idea to start lending people money. And so I will lend you $1 for lunch, right? And by the end of the week, you gotta pay me like $2 or $1.50 or $1.25, depending on how much I like you or how much I know you. Like if you're a regular person that just sometimes these kids, right? Like kids, they have no idea on the concept of money, and some of these kids like they just get an allowance or whatever, and maybe, and they're like, oh, I get $5 a day or something, right? And but they spend like a ton load on lunch, and they just need a little bit extra. Have I ever been to Germany? No, I haven't been to Germany, and so they need a little bit extra, right? And then so I would be there to lend out some money and get some back, right? Like a bank, right? So I would save my $2, and then at some point, somebody needs $1 at some point, and I'd be like, hey, if I give you $1, you have to give me back $1.50 later, like at the end of the week. And they're like, oh, okay, whatever, right? Because it's actually just giving me back the dollar and just some loose change, right, to them. So it's not that big of a difference. Like, oh, you gotta give me $1, and also I based it on how much I know the guy has, how much loose change they probably have. If they have like, if I see like they seem like they just have a lot, it'll be like $2. Who knows? Anyways, so I did that, and my friend, what he did is he sold candy bars. He's one of those candy bar people. You know, you've ever seen those people? They sell candy. Well, he did that, but he sold. All right, well that's cutting. I'll come back here. I also need to find. All right, you guys gotta come with me into the office. I gotta find the order sheet. You can't send out an order without the order sheet. And he would lend out. He would sell candy, like but special candy, not like a Snickers bar or anything. He would go to like an Asian market, and he would buy like special Asian candy or something, and he would sell those. But anyways, that was middle school. We get to high school. I lose touch with him. He's a year older than me, so he left for high school earlier than me. And when I get to high school, I saw him again, but he hung out in a different crowd now. He was too cool to hang out with me, so I'm kind of like, okay, whatever. And this is freshman of high school. Yeah, I was a school loan shark, I guess. And I have a story about once, and it had no problems except for one kid. One kid didn't want to pay me back, and I actually had to enforce the law on him. And like I said, I'm like a skinny Asian kid, right? And he just didn't. Most people just give back the money. Like I said, I go after spare change. It's like, oh, you gotta give me back $1 and a dime, right? It's like literally You're just giving me back my dollar, and maybe you give me some change that you have, whatever loose change that you had. That's what I want, and I would just collect together the loose change, right? Um, but anyways, this kid, me and him just grew apart. Like he hung on a different crowd now because he's a year older, so he went to high school before I did, and then when I got to high school and I saw him, he was just too cool for me now. And then I find out. Well, Crush, I'm gonna come collect if you still owe me $1. That is the rules with interest. Okay, it's like 30 years of interest. Um, right? I'm coming to collect. Well, anyways, so this kid, one day, the police show up to my high school, and I'm like, What are the police doing here? They come to arrest the kid that I that I knew because he apparently was selling like rave candy. If you guys know what that is, I'm trying to be as YouTube friendly as possible. You know, rave candy before. This is before they started making it like everyone. You know what I'm talking about, rave candy. And he graduated to selling different kind of candy, and the police got him. And so this is where we're talking about how little things affect people. Because I wonder how much of me hanging out with him and him coming up with the idea to sell candy got him to graduate to selling other kinds of candy that got him in trouble with the police. And yeah, I never saw this kid again because he's Asian like me, and when his parents found out, they 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 he's not in America anymore. They literally deported him. They self deported him to wherever they're from. Like he's gone. So I wonder about how much of me hanging out with him caused him to go down that path. And don't worry, when I got to high school, the kids were so much bigger than me at that point, where it was impossible for me to continue with this loaning business because like kids like grew up like crazy in high school. And I was like, oh, no one's gonna respect the law, and especially when you're a freshman. It didn't work because in middle school I did this when I was at the higher grade, so I was one of the bigger kids now. But now when you're coming in as a freshman, you're like a tiny little like shrimp. So that was not gonna work. Sorry, this is an older design. If it was a newer design, I would not design it this way. But this is one of my originals. And so this one is designed weird where I have to overlay, and I hate doing this. This is a design that if I redid it now, I would not do it this way. What else can we talk about? Or should we just... Some guy in his garage. What else is going on in the world that you guys want to talk about? I think we started this whole day talking about tariffs and how the other. Okay, well, I guess we'll circle back real quick to the tariff war. The other thing I find very funny, I don't know, it's funny, but I find very interesting is that I remember a while back watching this documentary, right? and it was about, I think it was on Netflix or something. It was a documentary about this Chinese businessman, and he bought um, a, a Chinese businessman, and he bought a windshield glass company in America that, well, the company shut down. They used to make windshield glass for like Ford or one of the big American car companies, and they shut down in Detroit. Right? He bought it, and he reopened the plant, but now it's Chinese owned, and this was in an area that was deep red. It's a deep red area. I don't remember. Is it most likely it's Detroit or something like that, but I don't know if Detroit's deep red. But anyways, so he bought it, and they rehired almost all the workers, a lot of the workers that were fired from before or that lost their jobs. So they're all grateful that this Chinese businessman came in and bought this business and reopened a giant windshield glass company that was there. And it was like, like my dad worked there. It was like one of those generational factories where my dad worked there, I worked there, and hopefully my son works there, kind of idea, right? And why I bring this story up and about the trade war is that what I find very funny is how he viewed American workers. Um, and there was the incident that happened there that I thought was very interesting. And this is, from my experience, this is how it works in China. Because I've been to China a few times and I've seen the factories, toured factories, worked in a factory for a little bit. Um, that's actually a very interesting experience to work in a Chinese factory as an American-born, non-Chinese. I'm not Chinese, by the way. Is an interesting experience. Okay, and so they had in this documentary they had an issue. They had a issue with one of the machines. The like conveyor belt broke or something, and the foreman or one of the workers wanted to shut down the conveyor belt so they can fix they could fix whatever the issue was. There was like maybe just something got jammed or something was out of place. They had an issue with a conveyor belt, and he wanted to shut it down. Right, so he wanted to shut it down so a worker can climb up the conveyor belt to fix the problem. When the worker shut down the belt, the Chinese foreman rushed over and started yelling at him. What are you doing? Why is that shut down right now? Like, why did you do that? Right, and then the guy tried to explain to him. Sorry, I'm going off screen real quick. Tried to explain to him that there was an issue. Maybe I'll take you guys with me so you can hear me. I'm trying to find something in one of these drawers. Tried to explain to him that there was an issue. We need to shut down the machine to fix it. He's like, no shutdown. No shutdown. Never shut down. And he told him next time to just run up the conveyor belt. And keep in mind, this is a glass factory, right? So there's like glass and all kinds of moving parts. Next time, no, I'm sorry, not next time. He showed him what to do. He basically, while the machine is going, just go up there and pull it out. Like, just the machine never stops. It never stops. That's literally what he said. It never stops for no reason. Never turn off the machine. And this is one of those things where I was saying that it's very hard for American workers to compete when those are the working conditions that they're expecting. Like OSHA does not mean anything to these guys. And so how are you supposed to bring these factories back to America when that's how they do it over there? And it's like it's a money thing. I know that's dangerous. I'm saying that's crazy. I saw that and I thought it was super dangerous, right? But it's just one of those things that you have to think about. It's it's something that needs to go in the back of your mind when you're thinking about them saying that, oh, they want to bring back uh, manufacturing back to America and all that, because you're competing with that. Think about that, okay? Because you you got to think about it from their point of view, where you shut down the conveyor belt. That's thousands of dollars lost for every, because it's constantly making moving the product around or whatever, but that's like hundreds or thousands of dollars lost or every minute the machine is down. Why do you think the stock market's going down? Oh, we all know why the stock market is going down, Jay. So this is the apron set. I've had this order for you right now. All right. So it's a set. This one says little gentleman. The girls one says little lady. And this is usually for brothers and sisters. They're another twin set. Like I said before, a lot of my stuff are for twins, right? And so I can sell two of them. Why sell one when you can sell two? That was the thought process that went in here. All right, next one. Okay, why do I think the stock market's going down, Jay? We all know why the stock market is going down. Uh, the people don't like the inconsistency. The tariff war is terrible. Like this is how we got here. Where I was saying that it doesn't do anyone any good. Like the goal, right, is to get stuff to come back to America, right? But the issue is that America doesn't make a lot of stuff. Right. If the machine was off, you weren't inside cleaning it and load the parts, and they would say go home. Well, I mean, I guess, but the machine needs to keep going. The machine is going, Crush. It's running. Never turn off the machine. Yeah, the stock market's going down. No one likes the trade war. Issue is America doesn't make enough stuff to, like, just think about we'll go back to the aluminum, right? Aluminum is actually used in computer parts. It's used in all kinds of parts stuff, right? And America doesn't make enough aluminum itself. So no matter what, you have to buy the aluminum outside. There's only 4 or 5 aluminum smelting um, factories or whatever inside America, when we used to have 30. And it's impossible. I think I saw somewhere where they're gonna start weighing let's say if you bring in a computer or whatever, they need to weigh how much aluminum is inside the computer so they could tax you on the extra bit of aluminum that's there. Like, that's crazy. Oh, maybe that's what we're gonna do. If they don't do that, we should start importing random, like, beach balls, right? And fill the beach balls with aluminum. Right? Like, just like the most random things. And you could say that that's smuggling, but maybe I am selling aluminum beach balls now, and the idea is the beach ball inside is aluminum core. Right? Don't mess with my business ideas, okay? This is the government here. Stay out of it. All right. Next thing I need to do is cut this last thing, and then it's the last order, and then I'll be done in here. Aluminum balls. That's it. You know what? That's good. That's the name of my company. Aluminum balls. Right. I thought the government needs to stay out of American business, right? I'm an American business. I want to make aluminum balls, and so outside is a beach ball, but inside is aluminum core. And when I get here, I'm just gonna cut the beach ball part, and then I'm just gonna sell aluminum. That's Imagine I start doing that, right? And they go, you know what? There's gonna be a tariff on beach balls, and they're like, what? Why are you trying to tariff my beach balls? Yes, and also they can't manufacture like other countries, so they should have. No, no, I agree. That's the issue, though. No, that's the one of the issues, though. That we don't. That I was talking about earlier. That I get the idea of the tariffs that you're trying to incentivize buying America, but if you can't buy American, then what is like? How? For example, let's take the champagne one that just recently that Trump is threatening, right? We don't make champagne in America. So you want champagne, you gotta buy it, right? There's no, I mean, I guess that's more of a technical thing because technically we do have a champagne. It's just that it doesn't come. You can't call it champagne. They call it sparkling wine because champagne is the region or whatever of the area or whatever. You know what I mean? He's a liar and a thug. Well, all politicians are liars. That's the issue. That's the real issue. All politicians are liars. Yeah. One thing I don't like though is when they lie and people kind of just like ignore their lie. Like, dude, you lied. um, I don't know. Or maybe what they do is they don't really lie. They kind of just bend the truth. You know? I saw one that I thought was very funny. Is that they were talking to one of the secretaries today, or was it yesterday? And the reporter was asking him about Trump's plan for tax cuts. I think it was tax cuts for people that making under 150,000 or something, and they asked him about that, and he's like, "Whoa, whoa, 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 whoa! That's an aspirational thing. That's something we want to do, but we can't do that now." And they're like, "But you could do that now." They're like, "Well, that's something we want to do later." And so that, in a sense, he's not lying, but that's not something that's gonna happen. All right, let's work on this last one. Do. All right, what else can we talk about? Where else are we going? Mr. Kid calls me chosen every day. I am the chosen one. Aluminum tax cut balls. That's right. We need more beach balls made of aluminum. They're like, imagine if this is the idea, right? And they see my business just blowing up. They're like, really? Why are people buying so much aluminum beach balls? They're like, people really like them. Let's see. The market wants what the market wants. Alright, make sure the size is right. Boom. Soup. Oh. See, I almost messed up here. Almost messed up. Oh, you're Canadian? Well, we'll see how this goes. I think the funny part, also the other funny part, I don't know why no one really. I mean, people kind of talk about this, at the same time they don't. Is that one thing that I find very funny is that they keep asking Trump like, what does he really want regarding this trade war thing with, let's just say Canada or Mexico, right? And he's like, we want to stop the flow of fentanyl coming into America. And the Canadians are like, dude, we don't have that much fentanyl here. What do you want? It's like, no, it's like telling me like, find the fentanyl, right? Uh, okay, this is the idea. Okay, I'm gonna solve this whole thing right now. I'm gonna say Canada, go buy a bunch of fentanyl, bring it towards the border. Right? Oh, you gotta listen to my plan. Get a bunch of fentanyl, bring it to the border and seize it, and then do a whole big show. Uh, you gotta follow me here. Get a bunch of fentanyl, bring it to the border, uh, seize it, right? Do a whole big show that you found all this fentanyl, and then you blame it, and then you know the government can change all those import export records that they really want to. They're just documents of paper, right? Literally anybody can do them. Plant the documents on there and say that the fentanyl came from Russia. No, but you know what I mean? Divert. You gotta divert, and then they'll be like, what? And then all in the news, right? You just gotta keep on saying, we just found a big shipment, right? We found a big shipment, and it's coming from here. And then you don't even have to say Russia. You could say like some other country. Just like shift it, and then it gives Trump an out. Like um, the issue is that Trump's in it right now, right? And he doesn't have an out, and he doesn't want to look weak, so he's committed. You gotta give him an out. So get get a big shipment, bring it to the border, move some documents around, and just just name some country that no one really cares about, and then just be done with it. Give him an out. And they're like, oh, you see, we're doing our part. We're keeping America's borders safe. We found some, and you know what? It's not us. It's, with you honest. Well, when you go low, you know how they say when someone goes low, you go high. When someone goes low, you go lower. Okay. Imagine if like one day you wake up in the news and New Zealand. Let's just pick New Zealand because they're innocent. They just have hobbits and whatnot over there, right? No one really cares besides the hobbits. You just like wake up and they're like, New Zealand was the one bringing it in the whole time. Oh my gosh. No. See, that might work. This is what I'm saying. We can come up with all the solutions. It could be great, it could be terrible, but it's an idea. I think we did it. We just solved the whole terror war right now. That's what I'm gonna run with right now. Right. Boom. This one. Now I think okay, we solved Canada's problem, but you can't. It's I think it's harder for Mexico, because oh thanks. All right, see you later, malcontent. I think someone was saying yesterday. I was working. I'm trying to brainstorm a movie, just make up a random movie, right? And yesterday, and I was saying like, we should make a comedy because the comedy is cheap and easy to make. Because at the end of the day, I gotta be a little bit realistic. Like a comedy is easy to make, and then the guy was saying, "Oh, but what is there to laugh at these days?" I'm like, "There's funny stuff everywhere. You just gotta see it." You know what I mean? Later, Gator. Any other world problems we can solve right now? Okay.
You're not going anywhere, are you?
No.
Will you come in later?
No. You know who gets to play Chosen in the movie? What do you mean, the actor? The Chosen actor guy? I don't know. I don't know anything about him. Is he a big actor? Oh, Bobby Lee. Oh, that would be so funny. I'm a huge Bobby Lee fan. I told you guys before, right? I met Bobby Lee before, a long time ago. I I got invited, not invited, but you know when they film their like comedy specials and whatnot, they need a crowd. Where's Bobby Lee from? He's from San Diego, California, right? And so you know how they film when they film like their specials, comedy specials and whatnot, and they need a crowd. And I got invited to be part of the crowd in one of those comedy specials. It was for, I'm trying to remember exactly who it was. It was an Asian comedian. He's not a big name, but he was big back then. I don't remember his name, but Bobby Lee was like he opened for him a little bit. Like he like they're buddies, and he just came on there just to do a quick set, and then we saw him in La Jolla. Ooh, that's a cool place. And Bobby Lee opened for him, and you know Bobby Lee did his. The thing about Bobby Lee is that he does. Is Bobby Lee this? No, that's rich. If Bobby Lee heard you say that you think that he is Dr. Ken, he Ken Jeong, he will flip out on you so bad. That I don't know. I don't know. You guys know, but Bobby Lee and Ken Jeong have this feud because he was supposed to be in a whole bunch of movies, but Ken Jeong kept taking his roles. So, and I met Bobby Lee um, after the taping, and I always remember when I saw him thinking this about him that he is almost exactly how you think he would be. Oh, thank you, Angela. We'll see you tomorrow. I try to go on every day. um, and he's as awkward as you would think he is off off the podcast is off you know when he's not doing his stand-up and everything. He looked so out of he made me feel out of place and insecure by the way he looked. Like but like he just had this look about him that he just looked like he felt insecure, but he should be like you know he felt that he was out of place, but he should be there. So that's my impression when I met Bobby Lee. And supposedly he has a special coming out. It's his first one, and I'm kind of interested to see what it looks like because supposedly Bobby Lee never changes his material. I haven't personally ever seen a lot of his stand-up. I've only seen that one time where he opened, you know. But supposedly his joke is that he hasn't changed his material in like 20 years, and that's why he doesn't want to do a special, because he doesn't change his material. Because if you do a special, all those jokes that you use in the special need to get thrown out. You can't do them again. Can't do it again. I'm on my last order. This is a tedious one. It has all these little like dots and stuff that I gotta take out. So after this, take a break. Soup. 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 Boom. 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 What else can we talk about? I feel like we're hitting a low, guys. We're hitting a low. We need some new topics. Aw, thank you, thank you. I tried very hard. You think I'm special? Wait, what kind of special? Like special? Come on. I'm joking. I know what you meant. Oh, what else can we talk about today? I mean, I feel pretty good about myself. I solved the Canadian um I solved the Canadian tariff war. Okay, so I feel pretty good about myself today. And if you ever see on the news that they find a big shipment and they're gonna blame another country, who else came up with that idea but me? So if that gets out there, you guys know, okay, that someone from Canada watched the show, and we did have a Canadian on here earlier. Okay, he probably left malcontent. He probably left so he can go tell the Canadian government my plan. He heard it and he was like, "That's genius. That's genius." Like, think about the timing on this, right? I come up with this genius plan for Canada to end the trade war, gives Donald Trump an out and everything, and he leaves. 5 minutes after hearing it, suspicious, suspicious. If you see breaking news, how hard it is. Imagine if Canada already had a big stockpile and they were already working on this, and I exposed them. That's because here's the thing, right, about dealing with Trump. You have to give him an out. Like sometimes, because I think I understand his mind. He rips. He does what I do. He kind of just talks, and then you get somewhere, and then you have to get yourself out. He talked about it with when he was on the Flagrant podcast with Andrew Schultz. What he does is he riffs. I mean, weaves. He starts talking about a subject, and then as he's talking about it, his brain veers off and starts thinking about another topic that's somewhat related to this topic, but it starts moving off. And then as he's talking about the other topic, he needs to get himself back to the original talking point. And when he weaves off, that's when things get crazy, right? He could be talking about aluminum cans, and as he's talking about aluminum cans, he starts thinking about how aluminum cans go into how aluminum actually goes into computers, and he'll start talking about computers, and then as you're talking about computers, you gotta weave yourself back to talking about, I don't know, aluminum cans. So, and then sometimes he's just looking for a way out. You gotta get him back. All right, so this is this order, this set here. This is king. I wear that hoodie all the time, but it goes with this one, the queen. Basic, easy design. Okay. So I wear that design all the time, and that is that. I'm done for the day. As I said before, why sell one when you can sell two? That's why I do couple stuff. All right. All right. I am done for today. It's raining. I didn't get to go to the gym yet. And I want to say, try to do something physical every day. Try to learn something new every day. And you're going to live your life. Because here's the thing about, you know what I realized about people, like, let's say, when you start getting, like, really rich, is that health becomes more important thing, because like you work so hard to get the money, and then yeah, you want to live as long as possible to have the money to use the money, right? But by the time you get there, you're all like old and like out of shape and whatever, so just keep yourself in shape the whole time. And maybe you live longer and you can do more things. All right, see you later. I'll be back. Thank you again. If you like this, keep coming back. If you don't, I'm sorry. I'll try harder later. And give it a like, and I'll see you guys.